Okay, I'm back. I had to get my reading glasses. And I did a little bit of antler pressure nibbling and turning so I can do my finished punch flakes. Now, some of these southern hardins, they'll be narrow, like the classic knobbed hardins, and they would counter their bevels. There's a lot of early archaic points where they'll start with the bevel and then they counter the bevel, and they get narrow. And they seem to be keeping the length on them for some reason. In other styles, they tend to resharpen them from the tip, and they'll just bevel them all the way down once they get to a thickness. So there's some nuance in the styles. So let's do some. We just need to approach the straighten the edge and keep our body in the middle, and then just take opportunistic flakes where we need to with the punch. Give it a little light of braid. We want to keep our body on this. Okay, that'll be our finished tip. Oops. I should be dressing my punch. Okay, that's nice. Now some pressure time. See how this thinning in the stem, the notching? It's really important to get that right. And if you can come in with the horizontal punches into the notch even a little bit, then it makes the finished vertical punch work so much easier. Some of the southern hardins, the long ones, the classic like Dover and Fort Payne knobbed hardins, they start a slight bevel and then they'd punch against the bevel. And they'd keep medial control, going with some horizontal punch work on the body back and forth. And then because the material can be kind of soft, then they'd resharpen it either way, usually with bold serrations. I cut myself. That flake stuck in sorry about that. So now, let's just do a little nibbling and some edge work. And then we'll cutesy up our base a little bit, try not to do too much. Making this point with direct percussion can be done, but not as predictably and reliably as this method, because I'm controlling my angles and I've got a small tool. And I should say the reason why I'm so curious about old stuff is because there's things that are, you look at the old artifacts and they're so different than what I was making when I started knapping. and most modern knappers make that it's just fascinating. It's not because I have some, you know, I'm selling stuff under the table and I'm a, you know, closet faker or anything like that. It's the artifact world is, I'm not interested in that as I am interested in just figuring out how this stuff was done. I wouldn't be obviously putting stuff on YouTube for years and years and years if I was interested in. That being said, I encourage people to be very careful about buying old artifacts, because there's people that are really sharp about their area and trust people. I've got amassed really good, clean collections, but it's not the majority. I don't know why I'm talking about that. So let's just do a little pressure straightening our edge. I almost need one little flake right here. I'm just going to get a small pressure flake. I normally don't like to do that, but so now we've got a good body. Our edges are getting more refined. We can do some finish edge work now. And our base needs a little attention. I don't like to do a whole lot. You can use the punch to do that too. I like it when the bases got on this style aren't too overly pressure flaked. Some things I've noticed on these styles is that when they're in the haft, and then they can be punched down, and sometimes there'll be some asphaltum or maybe animal blood even right above the haft, and you can see punch flakes where they got underneath a little sticky surface and really glassy chert, and you'll see a little negative reaction to some spot right above the haft. We're a little droopy back here, so we need to straighten that up. These can be a little concave in the base quite often. There, that's bringing us down to a nicer taper. Let's leave it at this stage, and we might do something with it later. Now there's different kinds of resharpening. I hope you guys can see this. I really need a face down camera. Well, I'm not gonna we're just gonna do a little first stage edge trimming. I'm brushing with the tool, brush, brush, brush. Get a little flake off. I see a lot of people doing a lot of edge work where they're getting in maybe a round antler tool and they're just kind of crunching. The make the sharpest edge is when the flake just pops off. So you get a little bite. And you hear that? The flakes comes off. There wasn't any follow through in the tool. We're gonna need just a little pressure flake back this way. Here. There we go. Sometimes I have to come back after a pressure flake, lower it just a little bit. There we go. There's a little burr or delta in your way, just brush down. The edge work on these things gets better and better and better. It's so nice. The old ones. Even if the point is heavy and has, you know, areas that they had problems, the edges are usually exquisite. It's gonna clean up really nice. All right, let's do this side. Check the horn, the bone. See that tiny little divot where I'm liking to grab? It's getting rough. And you'll wear a little spot and it'll wear a little divot and you'll like it, and then you'll push on too heavy an area and you'll split your bone. So attention to the tool on these is pretty important. But these are really awesome tools to use because on a piece of sandstone or whatever, you have a narrow tool all the way down until it's uncomfortable to hold. Interpreting how things were made, my approach to it is just not try to think that I know anything for sure and just use the tools. And then there's certain tools that will give you a result easier than others. And then just focus on making your own work. You don't have to own the past or corner an idea or feel like you're making some deep connection. But if you do that for yourself and you learn the tools, you have a tool and you learn to just not fight it, just go with it. And then if you do that for years and years and years, then you can, it doesn't mean you'll be right, but you'll end up probably being right about some stuff. And then if, you don't let that cloud you too much, then you can think it's something about human nature where we want to possess secret knowledge. Anyway, we've worked down nicely. I have a little heavy spot right there, so I just need to take, it's probably a little too heavy for this little bone, so I just need a small little pressure flake. There. So fun. On good shirt doing edge work. I didn't used to like it. Now I really enjoy it. Look, I've got some blood residue on my shoulder there. This shoulder trails down and this one doesn't. I might just do a little unnecessary cosmetic. Okay, I'm gonna do some more edge work and probably a little bit on the base, but I'll show you something now. But hardin notches that appear really sharp. A lot of times they're not really sharp. They just do finish grinding in with a little flake. I don't know if you can see how sharp that is. It's pretty sharp. Okay. I hope that I'm going to do some more detail. I'm going to do just a little bit of probably buffalo, gentle buffalo shearing, and then some extra fine serrations on this point. But I like the body. I like the unstylized symmetry. I like the width of the neck and the general notching. I like the staging to build this stem and the thickness right above the hafting area, or right at the top of the neck. So anyhow, I don't know what else to say. I hope I didn't get off and ramble too much about stuff. I've got one teeny little shell that didn't pop out right there. That's okay. Just very subtle. Okay, I'll put this up on Instagram when it's done later.